Okay, so I'm Karen Lindwall-Bourg with the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, recently merged with the International Christian Mompreneur Network. We're going to say that for several months until everyone gets used to it, and then we won't say it anymore. And I'm with Annette Bridges, and Annette and I have been in groups together, in coaching groups together, on retreats together, all sorts of things together. And she recently showed me at a retreat her entire, well, maybe it's not entire, but a really quality press packet. Now, she's a creative woman. She's got all sorts of ideas running through her head. She's an author. She's a retreat host. She's all sorts of things. She has the graphic designers behind her that are just absolutely amazing and top notch. She has an illustrator who has done an awesome job just with everything. It seems like everything that woman touches turns to gold. So, be prepared if you want to do a press packet on your own, you can, but the quality that you're getting ready to see, in my opinion, is top notch, kind of over the top. So, but it's a great example. So one thing I will point out before Annette kind of introduces herself, and I'm going to sort of ask her some questions. We're going to show you some press packet elements, is what I'm calling them. And then at the end, we're going to show you where you can go to just go get them all so that you can lay them side by side with yours. So while you're developing yours, you can say, oh, I really like this paragraph. I want to do a paragraph like that, and use it as a template or a model, because I think that's the easiest way to do it. It's one and done for you practically. So what was I saying before I let you introduce yourself? Oh, I was going to say, I don't think it matters what you're putting together. So in this case, Annette asked the Texas Book Festival people, professionals, what they wanted in a press packet, and they just gave it to her, sent it to her, and said, we like this, we like this, we like this, we like this. And it was things I hadn't seen before, and I've been out and about, so I thought it really stretched me. And so that's where she got the idea and got the ball rolling, and why I wanted you to see this. I think whether you are using this press packet for one event that you want to hold, one product, whether it's a book or something else that you want to sell, one service that you have to offer, one program that you want to share, I may be wrong. I think you'll tweak things as you go, as you figure it out. But I don't think it matters what you use this press packet template for. It's up to you, and I think it'll apply to everything. So, for example, we're getting ready to have the NACWE conference in September, less than 2 months from now, and I used the templates that I saw you create to create some things that are going to go in the NACWE Conference magazine. I also used some of the things that you created as a template for what I was going to create in a Karen Bourg magazine that I will hand out at the conference as well, just because some of them were I think some of them are kind of unique. I hadn't seen them before. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you introduce yourself, and some of the people that are watching already know you, but for those that don't, just kind of give a little background about yourself. And then we'll just start talking about this press packet. I have questions, you have answers. And then I'm going to share screens for her when she talks about each piece of it, and just let her tell what was the most fascinating part of putting that together, etc. And you'll see for yourselves, and it'll be on a recording and saved in the NACWE Classroom Vault for you as well. So why don't you go ahead and introduce your way.
Okay, well, hi, I am Annette Bridges, as you said. Gosh, I don't have anything sort of written out, so I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys. I have been writing for a long time. I actually just did a little quick overview is I started writing newspaper columns in 2001 after 9/11. And I didn't know that was what I was fixing to get to doing public writing, but I did, and ended up getting published in Dallas Morning News and several other newspapers, and it just led to me doing that for about a decade. Prior to that, I'm going to just jump and just say a little bit in terms of what we're talking about today. Actually, about 20 years ago, I worked for a book publisher, and I actually booked interviews on radio and television with speakers, and so I created press packets back in those days, and that was just part of where I knew a little bit about that, as well as creating materials to give, working with event coordinators at bookstores, and getting, knew some of the kind of things that they want. So that's a little bit of the background that kind of gave me some foundation to work with when I started thinking about what do I need for myself. Whether it is, like you say, I have written a number of books for women and children, and created journals and coloring books, and host women's retreats. And so to be honest with you gals, I've been doing a lot of these things, but I have just really recently started focusing on creating the marketing materials. It's like I kind of just jump in there. I mean, my favorite things to do are the creative side of things, right? So I love to write books, and I love to host these women retreats. But I haven't done all that I could do and probably should do when it comes under the whole marketing and spreading the word. And so I'm trying to do a better job of that now. And I know, so I was wanting to create some materials that, yes, could be templates, that could be reworked, whether it's for promoting a service that you're doing, or it is in fact a book, or, product, whatever. I really think you'll see that, or I want you to have those eyes on. When you're looking at these different items, think about your own business and what kind of products and services you have, and be thinking to yourself, how might I do that? And what might I say here and there, and phrasing and whatever. But I do think that the format of these, you will find a lot of them very, like Karen has found, that they are adaptable, and you can work with it. So, my goodness, what else? Where do we go from here?
I had asked you if you thought there were some things that they asked for, or the things they should have asked for that they didn't ask for. And so we'll show, one of them was the speaker sheet.
Right, that's true. They didn't, I thought it was interesting to actually, actually let me think about that. I didn't have something ready for them at that moment. So that may have been even a factor. To be honest with you, when I first did this press kit for them, but definitely if you've done speaking, no matter what it is, I actually think to have a speaker page of some sort, and there's a lot of ways of how you do that and what that looks like. They're even different from what I did, because it almost just depends on who your audience is, as they say, and who you're presenting it to, and what you think will show you more as an authority, or show you more as someone, it's like some of these things you're trying to build up your credentials. It's sort of like a resume, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a resume. You're just doing multiple pages, and you're having it be, but with a resume, think about it that way though. A resume, you want it very professional, and you want that your skill set represented very well. And in the way I do, when you think press kit, then you're going to be thinking about your brand and your mission, and the feeling that people are getting at it, looking at everything as well. So
I fell in love with the "You Can Quote Me" page. They asked for that.
Yeah, and that was actually, that was the page that was actually suggested. I know, got my little my print copies here in front of me. I know Karen may be going to pull these up. But I think this is kind of a fun thing, no matter what your business is. Especially, most of the time, I'm thinking about this, just think about some of the different occupations and focuses that you gals are doing. I think you're probably a quote from you, like if you're doing a service or product that you are worthy of being interviewed, whether it is, a blogger, for a podcast, you know, thinking on the internet, you know, you want to let know some message that you have that is really intriguing and interesting and eye-catching and something that makes you look like someone, oh, you know, maybe you're worth interviewing, you know, and this gal's got something to say. So You Can Quote Me page is just a very fun kind of thing, you know, create it with your brand, always have contact information on everything you create actually. It's depending on, I may have it not on a couple of my things because they weren't created as that time, but I know actually, I think I do have it on them all actually, because it really should be, you know, because you're trying to create, again, like I said, a template that is just going to be versatile for however you share it, whether you're printing them up, whether it's a downloadable from your website, whether it's you know, I think you also need to even have, I've learned, you know, you need to even have like a JPEG PNG version for being able to text, or someone can scan, you know, easily. They're just kind of a lot of other ways. And with emailing, that's a smaller file than a PDF kind of thing. I don't, you know, I keep learning all this language. This is not my forte, you know, that's why I do have an illustrator and a graphic designer and, you know, professionals that I work with, because, you know, I am, like in terms of books, I am a self-published author. You know, I do have created my own publishing house, but that doesn't mean I don't have professionals that do everything. I do think if you are going to self-publish, or if you're going to look for that book agent and you're going to go you know, other way, you need to be able to have everything you have done, I think, very professional. Mm-hmm. So you got to spend the money to hire people, frankly, but it doesn't have to be like off the charts. You might be surprised, especially when you're creating templates that you can edit.
Well, let's share, you know, them one by one and see how far we get, and then tell everybody where to go to find them all really easily. Hence, we're not going to tell you guys that until the end. And then, you know, as we put each one up, perhaps a question will come from me, or you'll think of something that really was crucial for you as you were putting it together and that sort of thing. Where do you want to start? What do you want to show first?
Well, you could go ahead and show them, though. You Can Quote Me, and that's not like in an order, but since you got it, and we'll just kind of just move it.
Is the You Can Quote Me one inside one of these? Like,
let's see where it says Creative Me. There it is. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it up on your side? Because I can't tell.
Oh, you can't see it? You should be able to see it.
Well, I see all of them. I didn't know if it was going to be like a bigger.
I shared it, and I see it only one page of it. But you still see all of them?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to stop and start again. Here we go. Okay, now what do you see?
Nothing yet. It just, oh, there it is. There it is. Now I see it.
I just love this, and I mean, I guess I kind of wanted to know how you came to put it together this way. I mean, would you ever quote yourself, like take an excerpt from each book that you've written, you know, The Gospel According to Mama, and put a quote?
Oh, that would be a fun idea. I have not thought about this. See, I think they're just, the ways you could use this are probably just freaking infinite. You know, if this was part of a press kit where you were, you know, putting together to introduce your book to retailers or to, you know, other publishers or events or whatever, then yeah, I think that would be a great thing to do, to highlight a quote from a book. This one, you know, the reason why, I guess it is what it is, I just was like, thinking just more of me as an author and retreat host, just a broader, not a more broad spectrum. Because I think You Can Quote Me could just be represent what you consider your mantra. Mantra, is that how you say that word? I like that word, mantra, mantra. I just don't know how to pronounce it. Are, you know, part of your mission statement, or just, you know, like, just looks like part of an interview kind of thing. But I think that's a great idea to do. You could do it.
Yeah. So for example, every time I'm working with the NACWE team, I say this and they all giggle. I say, when they finish something and they show me something new, here's the web page, it's ready. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like opening Christmas presents every day. I love opening presents. And so, that's a quotable thing from me. Yep. That might entice someone to want to work with me because of the excitement of, every day is like Christmas, or everything we accomplish together is worth celebrating, and that sort of thing. So I get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I excerpts from the book. So from the book, there's an excerpt page that has quotes or
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
So there are a lot of ways you can do that for sure. I mean, maybe we should just look at the author bio page. Okay. Maybe. That's kind of a starting point. In fact, when I put together my press kit, that was what I had on top. In fact, so
okay, let me do that. Share. There's the author bio. Tell me when you can see it.
Okay, there it is. So for me, just some elements that I think should be a part of any bio, whether it's an author bio or whether it's as whatever your service is, whether it's just straight bio, have anything in front of it, depending on, because it fits with any business. But I think you have your picture that's going to be whatever your headshot is. It's going to be that professional quality, because you're going to also offer that separately as a downloadable, that's that, you're going to have your logo. For me, I'm sitting here looking like y'all know what I'm looking at. Pointing at. But like my tractor with me, my little avatar, that's just on about everything that exists in my life, because that's just part of my brand with my publishing house, Ranch House Press. Going to have let's see. Yeah, that's the little logo there. I had to zoom in. I don't have my glasses on. And then, and so then I have contact information, which for me is going to be my website and my email address and my cell phone number. I do put on my materials, not everyone does their phone number, but I think you should have a phone number, whether it's, I know sometimes people create those special ones that's not their regular cell phone, and maybe that's something I should look into. But I think it's good to have a phone number. The whole point of having contact information is you don't want someone to have to search and look for how to contact you. If they're going through materials you've provided, you want them to be able to get excited about something they're seeing and easily know how to contact you. Mm-hmm. So,
so for those of you who don't know, I also think that the art that you include needs to really depict you. And so if you don't know Annette, if you know Annette very well, you already know this. If you don't know Annette very well, what she's holding up on the tractor is a tube of lipstick. And she's saying, have lipstick, we'll travel. And she's even said before, I don't even get on my tractor without my lipstick. And we all just love that, right?
That's a very true statement. Yeah, one of my first newspaper columns, I talked about that, in fact, so many years ago. But it's a very true statement. And I have a book called, with the title, Have Lipstick, Will Travel. So, lipstick is something. But yeah, you're right. You're whatever you have for your logo, to me, it really should represent you. You as a person, not just your business. I think it's got to be a combination in some way to me. So, yeah. So, I'm looking at this, and this is an author bio. I will say, I do feel like I need I would probably create and edit this at some point, because I've been looking at it from the standpoint of my women's retreats, which I only mention in here as one of the many things that I do. But, if I was presenting this, I don't know. I think, depending on what your major focus is, because sometimes, we have a lot of things that we're doing, and like myself, but, I think if I want to, whatever my major focus is, that needs to really come across very clearly in that opening paragraph. So I'm either going to edit this or I'm going to have another one that's.
So you could actually have Annette's bio that included everything, or an author bio that focuses on writing the books, a retreat host bio, or retreat hostess bio that talks about retreats, or a speaker bio that talks about your speaking events.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's the whole, the whole point is that you could have templates. Sometimes it's just too much to try to have one that does it all, because, depending on who you're sending this to, it's got to be really
Uh-oh.
You look frozen.
Yeah, you did too for a second, but now we're not, so we're okay.
Yeah, okay, good.
I love that you put something quirky in there, and I tried to follow your example. I think you said something like, she can drive a tractor, but only if she's wearing a fresh coat of lipstick and it's not her pedicure day. In other words, there's a limit, drawing the line, drawing some boundaries. And so
that is so true. I mean, it's quirky, but it's the honest truth. My husband knows when I'm not available and when I am.
Don't even think about it.
That's right. So true.
Well, okay. So what would you like to? Uh-oh.
Okay. Zip, zip, zip. Oh, I don't know. We're unstable.
What is the author Q&A, for example? I mean, who?
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, talk about that one. And if I click on this one that says front, it's going to give me the front and the back, right?
I don't know.
I think it does.
Okay. I'm not sure. There is, because right, it is a front and back.
Tell me if you can see. Oh, it's got a lot of stuff in it. So hold on. Q&A continued. Bio.
Yeah. It's not just the one page on my screen.
Can you see? You can't just see the one page? No?
Not yet. Oh, let's see.
Spoke too soon. Okay.
There it is.
Okay. Talk about this because it was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and you know what I did with this? This is one of the things that I said. Some of you gals may recognize some of the questions because you'll help me create them. One of the things that I have, that I value so much about being a part of NACWE is, getting your feedback and how, just, when you need ideas and things and how you girls respond. And I knew I needed to create this, but, sometimes it's like, well, heck, I can answer any question. Ask me a question. What are the questions you really want to know? And so I actually asked y'all that, and a lot of you did, in fact, respond, in the group. And then I decided, well, I got so many good answers. I just kept asking everywhere, and to find out what do people want to know. And so these questions were not my questions. They were, questions from you ladies and that helped me. Then I could answer them. But because I think that, whether it's, I'm holding it here too, whether this was specific for the book, because one of the questions specifically, mentioning what was my last book and giving the backstory to it. But you definitely could have something just more generic that fits, that's not just toward a specific book, but that's just a lot of different questions about why you're doing, what this is about what you've been doing and why you've been doing what you've been doing, in essence, you want these questions to answer a lot of those type of newsworthy type questions. Because this may be for an interview of like a podcaster, this may be, a magazine article about you or a newspaper article, getting some news coverage. So yeah.
Were you prepared to answer the what's the next book on your horizon question? You probably had 10, not just one, right?
Well, and I did have I did have a few things in the works. So, I do say that in my answer because, I did. You do. And let's say you don't, though. Let's say, this is for a book and you got this one book and you don't know what the heck, if you're ever going to write again. Maybe you don't know, right?
Right.
But I think it's something that maybe you let yourself dream a little bit, and imagine if I wrote again, what? Just ask let the questions being asked to you. So think about it. let yourself imagine, well, if I did, you know, I've always been interested in this, and maybe I might do this, and kind of I bet you could come up with an answer.
Yeah. So one of the things you say in there is, I'm getting ready to publish purse-sized versions of my 18 Color Your World journals. So here they are.
That's right.
You've ever seen. And I, am a journal junkie, so I got one of each.
And you know what? On that note, since you held those up, mention the little jot journals. So I want y'all to know something. The very first year I joined NACWE, whatever year that was, I can't remember, there was a virtual conference that happened. Do you remember that, Karen?
Well, we had several. Was it on writing or something?
Shoot. It was, let me think. It happened, I don't know if, maybe it was the year with Diane. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't even a real in-person conference that year. I almost feel like it because it happened in the month of October, because I was literally driving to Austin because I was going to have a booth at the Texas Book Festival at the Capitol grounds. And the conference was going on, and I was in the car, and I thought, okay, I've got to listen to this conference. So my husband just had to listen with me. And I cannot recall her name right at the moment, which is horrible because she was amazing, the author of the Eat Your Peas books. Do you remember her? I cannot remember. If I didn't know I was going to mention her, I would have grabbed it and mentioned her name. But anyway, she was a speaker in this virtual conference. And one of the things that she shared that was golden to me, and I will never forget, and I will always try to utilize, was, so maybe you have a book, right? Or you create some product, but are you frozen again?
No, keep going.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. It had a funny thing on my screen. I have intermittent.
Cheryl Carpin.
Oh, yeah. I think that's it. Yes. She's amazing. Anyway, so she was talking about, so you create something, whatever it is. Well, you don't have to just stop there, because there could very well be many things that you could branch out from that without, totally starting from scratch with some brand new idea, and just gives you more things to monetize. Mm-hmm. So in this instance, I created the Color Your World journal series over a couple of year period, and they were the big journals, which were really important to me. But then I did have a lot of women that really liked the idea of having a purse-sized journal. So I decided, well, I've already, instead of just creating a brand new, start from scratch purse-sized journal, I already have these big journals that, the page, the designs, everything from the graphic designer. Maybe I'll just have her create a new size of this exact same thing. So that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
So anyway.
So another thing, it says, what piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to start writing a book? And you guys can read her advice on here. But I will also tell you that when I have been with Annette, and we've traveled together and done some various things together, she said to me, I always have a purse-sized journal, or a journal in my purse, a journal beside my purse on the seat car beside me. Well, now, except for, Lady had to have her place in the seat and all of that. And she said, I'll pull over if an idea comes to me, or I wake up in the middle of the night, or I'm in the middle of something. I just stop everything and I jot down some of my ideas in this journal. We've had other authors and writers in NACWE tell us that. I remember Sharon Rose Gibson did a series for us there in the NACWE Classroom Vault. If you're a NACWE Elite member, there's over 700 things in there, shameless plug. And she said, write in 15-minute increments. If you get this grand idea, and you will stop and just write 15 minutes worth of information about that idea, you think, oh no, if I don't write it all down and take a whole hour, I'm not going to remember what I exactly wanted to say, but you'll come back to it. That 15 minutes will give you enough information, and you'll have fresh eyes and a fresh heart toward it. And so Annette does that. And I've seen journals. I've actually seen her do it.
Yeah, I have a tablet by my tub, I have it by my bed, I have it in my purse, by my phone. I use my phone as well, because sometimes, you're on a walk and you don't have something with you, and I'll talk into my phone. The Siri she never understands my accent correctly, so, I have to try to figure out what she if you've ever read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, she really talks about that idea a lot. I mean, that's the big gist in that book, that my big takeaway was, but it was already something I was putting to practice anyway, but it just reinforced it. So I loved it, about when ideas come. I think ideas come from God. I think they're divine. I think you pay attention, you take note. And now, whether it's an idea that I'm going to use immediately or it's going to turn into a book, sometimes I'll get an idea and I'll think, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with that, but it came, so I'm going to write it down, because I think that's what you do with ideas. You write them down. And
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been on a tractor driving with ideas, and then it's like, okay, I got to have a potty break because I have got to run in and write something down. I don't have time to spend with it because I got to get back out there, right? But, I've done that. I have done that, truly.
Right.
So
I'm going to just flip through here. So you were actually promoting your lady book, Lessons You Learned from Lady in a Dachshund Tale. I noticed, did they ask for like exact sizes because they wanted a picture of the book? They wanted a picture of some excerpts from inside the book? Of the back.
Right, and in this instance, I also had to supply the book itself, too. So, not just the images and all, but I did the images. What I needed them and what they wanted to know. They wanted to know, especially, here's the thing. Well, it doesn't even matter. I'm going to just say this. But it matters a little bit more when you're a self-published author. But you got more to prove. But even if you are getting published by a traditional publisher, I assure you, unless you've already made the New York Times bestseller list, you are going to still have to do your own marketing. So just say it. I mean, I'm not naive. I still plan to look for a book agent at some point. I do have the book that I hope might be the book that I am gonna try to go the traditional way, just because I need to do that. That's one of my next things on my list. But, before you get that, you're not going to get this big marketing budget, until you are, a little more known, to say the least. So, I think you have to prove to people, whether it's a contest, whether it's an event that you're trying to get invited to, be a featured author at or a speaker or whatever, you need to present yourself professionally. You need to be taken seriously. This isn't something you just typed up and printed up and stapled. This is, you've had it created and bound, and it looks just as professional as anything else on a bookstore shelf. And that includes the materials that are created that are representing you. They need to be very professional in that way.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I kind of told you that I would. Speaking of, not all of us have a big budget and that sort of thing, and we self-published, or we use like Rhema Publishing House as a shepherd publishing company, kind of helps you do the pieces you need help with and lets you do the other pieces that you can do by yourself on your own and save some money and that sort of thing. Do you have any idea, once you got through with this entire press packet, what you might have spent on it? Any idea? Because you had an illustrator, you had a graphic designer, you did a lot of it on your own.
Got to think about that. I'm sorry I didn't pull those numbers just up out of the hat. And the reason why I have to think about it is because, I do, in fact, have a lot of projects going on always at the same time. So when I pretty much, with my graphic designer, I can say this much, I use her every month. There are things I am putting into my budget every month. So, And I almost always have like an ongoing thing, you know, because she will, a lot of these, I will say this, you know, a lot of times they will give you a price per project, you know, so it's not an hourly thing. I do have some help that I get that is an hourly rate, excuse me, but my graphic designer and illustrator are always by the project. And because I have so many ongoing things, it's a little harder for me to remember how it goes.
So, I mean, so just if I said to you, was it hundreds or thousands?
Oh, it's in the hundreds range for sure. You know, not in the thousands for this. I don't know how to even average a per page price. I really don't. But what you have to understand, so just sort of tell yourself, let's just say maybe it was a couple of hundred a page. I don't know. Let's just say that. That may not be a total accurate thing. Could be a little less, or I don't think it would have been much more. So maybe just say that. You know, that's why you want to create a template, you know, so that it's editable. It can be edited. So maybe you still have to have, if you're like me, I would still have to have the professional edit it for me, but they're not starting over from scratch. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to take them as much time because, you know, they are figuring this. When they initially design something, they are thinking, okay, you know, this is going to take me a certain amount of time to create. So this is going to be what it's going to cost. You know, they're going to be doing that in their own head. But if I'm just needing them to edit, you know, a couple of lines or plug, you know, change pictures out, you know, it's not going to cost that as much to edit. So,
and like you said, that's the benefit to me of having the template is you don't have to recreate the wheel. It's all, you know, you have your images, you have your illustrations, so I noticed you have a monochromatic logo that's just blue, and then you have a more colorful logo as well. I never thought of doing that.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, I mean, to be honest with you girls, I have created some kinds of things. Sometimes I've created some things on Canva myself,
sure.
But to be honest with you, I never feel like they totally come out right because I just don't have the skills. You know, we all have our skill sets. I think there may be some of you that could create something on Canva that could look just absolutely fabulous. So I'm not going to say you can't. I know you can. You know, I just tend to, you know.
Well, and I'm like you. I know what I like when I see it, but I think I have a good eye. But I also don't really know how to always put it together for myself. I mean, that goes with decorating the house, too. We're on a retreat as we speak at the lake house in East Texas, and somebody who came said, oh, my goodness, I love the way you decorated. And I thought, wow, in this case, you know, I did do the decorations myself. I didn't really have any help. But for the most part, I also will put something together. Now, I also think if you need to save money, it's okay to put something together. And then I have done this, said to my graphic designer, would you make the tweaks that need to be made? Don't start from scratch. Just
right.
And she can usually turn it into something that's quite stunning, I think.
Well, that's why I mention Canva, because you can do some things with Canva for free. You can kind of create your vision if you got some real ideas, because a lot of times maybe I don't have it. I know some of the content, but I don't have a vision about it, right? I've been working with the same graphic designer for at least 10 years. So she knows me. So she usually kind of gets, I mean, the first try, it's exactly what I want because she just knows what's in my mind. But a lot of times I will have a real definite, oh, I want this kind of at the top and I want this to here, you know, I mean, I'll have some vision and I give it. You could create something on Canva that maybe you want a graphic designer to, like you say, fine tune, you know, you're not happy with the way it's turning out, if things aren't proportioned just right, you know. So
you've been working with your illustrator almost that long as well, or long?
Yes, correct.
How long did it take the two of you to fine tune like this little girl or the girl on the tractor kind of?
You know, it's very funny. My illustrator, see what happens a lot, or has happened with me, my illustrator has created images that then my graphic designer uses and she can tweak and rearrange and stuff like that. So, But if it's something like from scratch, you know, like my avatar, my illustrator actually drew it out. So, you know, I don't know, maybe it just depends on who you get, or it wasn't even like we knew each other. I never met my illustrator, just for that, making a note on that. My illustrator came recommended to me by the production, I don't know what her title was, but a marketeer that I found that when I did my first book many years ago, and she had recommended this illustrator, and so I never met her. Never met her. I still never met her. But, you know, she just was so spot on and doing what I needed. I ended up doing more projects with her because I just had to, because she was just so amazing. So, you know, in this case, the first avatar she designed, they were perfect. I'm just saying, she just did it, you know. I mean, maybe sometimes it may be, there have been other illustrations in some books where it was harder, you know, like I said, this isn't quite right, or this is working, this isn't, you know. So there have been times when she's gone through a few drafts. And everyone, you know, usually when you're working with an illustrator and designer, you know, they want to make you happy. So they're going to keep, you know, when you make however many proofs it takes to get to that finished product.
Mm-hmm. Well, I asked because I have had graphic designers and illustrators that didn't know me or a photographer even that didn't really know me very well, typically do things. And I think you have to understand who you are and what you want so that you define it for them first. But for example, one of the things that's happened over and over now, I've learned to say, please do not lighten my eyes or my hair. One of the signatures, my father, my brother, and I, not my mother and sister so much, but my father, brother, have black eyes. I mean, they are dark. And I realized that, you know, Photoshoppers want to lighten those up so they pop out on your headshots and things like that. And I've said, don't. Do something else, put a little white dot in there, whatever you want to do, but don't. But you need to know that when you hire a graphic designer or illustrator, some things that you really want to stand out about you have to know that. And I love that she got your hair, and you know, there's a little quirk about you that I think she kind of caught and stuff like that. I
think you're right, Karen. That's true, and it will save you some money if the more you know what you want. Because if it is someone that you've never worked with before, and this is your first project, or maybe, and they've never even met you, and they don't know anything about, I mean, you know, then, you know, you can't fault them for trying and not getting it, what you want, because, you know, they need more from you. And, you know, if you spend more and more time, then it, you know, may cost you more.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about some of these last elements. Like this is a for immediate release page. Anything you want? No.
Right. So that's a press release. No, I didn't pull that copy in front of me. I'm looking at there. That's a press release. So this is something I have written a lot of, and you can certainly, there's a lot of services out there that'll do this kind of thing for you for free. There are a lot of templates that you can find online. You know, one thing that a women's conference I went to a week ago that she just kept emphasizing, and she's so right. If you want to learn something and you don't know how to do it, Google it, because, you know, Google is like this amazing teacher. We have this amazing resource of the internet right now that I don't know if it's always going to be free, you know, in the rest of our life, but it is now. And we have, you know, there's just so many resources. So you can find templates that you can pull from and create. But, you know, this is a press release. Again, you're kind of having, this was for the book specifically. So, you know, you've got your contact info. Again, this is a template. I could take that template and just change, you know, the content depending on if it was a book or service. But as you can see, in my headline doesn't have anything, it doesn't say the title of the book there, right? You know, your news, for a press release, if this is going to media, like newspapers, radio, television, then you're trying to create a newsworthy type of hook, you know, into a topic that you know, could be of interest at large. And, you know, it could be your headline would be connected with something going on in the world today or in the news and whatever. So, yeah. So
well, that's why, even though the title of the book is A Dachshund Tale, Lessons Learned from My Dog, headliner was Grieving Pet Owners Need Grief Support Too. It's time we recognize the loss of a pet as a real grief and help those grieving cope. I love it.
Right. And that's because it actually is a fact. You know, there's scientific evidence out there, but it's not necessarily a widely accepted thing that, you know, if you're still grieving the loss. I mean, I still grieve my dog. My dog passed away October 30th last year. It still is not, I'm still dealing with it. You know, I don't think you ever forget or overcome fully, but you learn to move forward, you know, with that. And that's what I've been doing. But it does need to be recognized, right? So, you know, that was why I created that news hook that way. And that's what you would do with whatever you're doing.
Sure. Is it pretty typical that you would put a quote in the middle?
I think it is, because again, you know, you're looking for that interview. You're looking to present yourself as an authority in whatever product that you represent or service that you provide. So, yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay. Invite Annette to speak at your next event. Is that the same thing as your speakers page? But you changed the what?
Yeah, I did change it up. My speaker page now looks like this too on my website. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. I think having things that you have on your website correlate with what you have in print, and that's part of your press kit. You know, you just need a consistent.
Well, let's share image. That. No, that's the you can quote me one. Sorry. Stop share. Okay. Share. Yes, because you added some stuff to this, some things, I think, to this one.
Yeah, well, and I just wanted to do it a little differently. Now, this could be a lot of different ways, but I have spoken at a number of different things, but I don't have this, like, you know, huge resume, right? So, you know, because if you have spoken at like some, you know, really major event kind of thing that people would go, oh my gosh, you've spoken there, then you're going to want to have a little chronological kind of thing going on. You know, you want to list the event and when you know, more like a, timeline kind of bulleted thing. But, you know, I don't have that. I have spoken, you know, a couple of times here at this type of thing and a couple of times here and a couple of times there. So that's worded that way. The pictures are representing, you know, obviously from some different events that with me in action. As you can see, Karen, I have red hair once upon a time. Well, not long ago.
This picture, I don't know if the pointer shows up when you're sharing a screen on Zoom, but the very first picture is you at the NACWE conference last year.
That is right. It was me with the NACWE conference last year. This is very true. So what I added, as you're pointing there, you can see the cursor, at least on my system. Some of my topics, you know, speaking topics.
So how did you know to choose? I mean, how is there a rule of thumb? Just choose 3 of your favorite speaking topics, or I mean, we don't want to overwhelm people, and we do want to specialize. You know, Felicia Slattery says you should have 1 signature speech. It can be 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 hours, whatever. It's one. It's one.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of different feelings about that, and the reason why I have 3 noted there is those actually they each tie into books that I have written or products that I offer, and that's why that's that way. You know, because, you know, maybe just because, I mean, like, you know, some of that has to do with art and with my mom who passed away, so I have a story with that. You know, some of that has to do with journaling. And some of that has to do with a Dachshund Tale and, you know, writing about lessons learned as a way to walk through grief. So, you know, so they're very different focuses, but they go with books and products. You know, if you're going to have a speaking topic, it needs to tie into books and products that you're going to offer at the event that you're thinking about, right? So
that's awesome. Okay, so let's look at the whole kit and caboodle. So we showed the cover and the back cover and the excerpts from inside your book. We talked about your author bio, the Q&A. You did say very clear that you need to send them separately some of the pictures and some of the elements that they might use themselves.
Right.
So I mean, to me was you can quote me, press release, speaker kit. What about these two? Publications list and what readers are saying. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Right. Well, you know, I could just kind of go real quick, fast on all of these other things because there's like 4 things I have right in front of me. But yeah, like whichever one you just pick. It don't matter.
Can you see
applications and products, or
can you see? I can't see it. Oh, this is so complicated. This sharing isn't doing right. Hold on.
Playing nice.
It's not playing nice.
Well, I can also just hold up some things too, and then we're gonna share.
Can you see the publications and products list right now?
Okay. So what's happening is it's showing the page where everything, you know, all the docs are listed there.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question about that.
Okay.
So they don't want, when you get this out there, they don't want links to things. They just want the list. They just want the list.
Well,
no annotation, no links. I mean, that bothered me.
Yeah, so this, obviously, I was creating because here it is in print. I was creating because my screen, Karen, is not showing just the one thing. It's showing like.
Let me try again.
Oops, sorry. So, I had to create in print stuff for this press kit for the Texas Book Festival. So, you know, this is publications and products. So this is basically, I needed it to be a 1-pager, and you know, I had a lot of stuff there. So this is all the books and products that I have published, and that's why that is like it is.
I like the way that you categorized it. I wonder if there's a right or wrong way to do that.
Well, I did it this way because it also correlates with my catalog of products and services. These are the sections in my catalog. These are also the sections in my web shop. And again, for me, it's about being consistent in the way you present things and format things, and the various tools that you create, having them be similar, you know? So that's why this is that way. Now,
are you a blogger?
I have a magazine column. You know, I'm not doing a blog right now because I'm doing the magazine column, and I have done blogs before.
So I asked because, I asked because if you were a blogger, would it be right or wrong, or is there a right or wrong? I mean, I would want to put, you know, where you can find my blog or my blog categories or something on there too.
Yeah. You know, you definitely could do that. And I think if that's a big thing, you know, I realize in all my stuff right now, if someone goes to my website, you know, I actually need to add the magazine column to my website right now because that's a newer thing this year. But your website needs to have a way to link to where they can link, you know, hit the link and go to all of your published stuff, because, you know, I do have a way to link to my 10 years worth of newspaper columns. You know, I do have that. That's there. I need to have a way to link to my new magazine column, you know, but, you know, so you need to have that way. You just may or may not be able to, if you've been blogging for like years, like if there's no way I could live. I have like, and that 10 years of newspaper columns, I don't remember, 465 newspaper columns, whatever it was, right? I'm not going to list all of that.
No, but yeah. So you're saying when they go to AnnetteBridges.com, they should be able to navigate to where all your stuff is and find it.
They should be able to do that. And I still, like I said, I have some work to do there to a little better doing that. But yeah, I need to add. Things keep happening. I need to add.
So lastly, can you see what readers are saying page now?
Yes, I do. That's great. And so this could be what readers are saying, whether, you know, I I had to pull this together really quickly. And so I just literally went to Amazon and pulled some of the reviews, all the Amazon, and plugged them in to create this page. But, you could do this in a lot of different ways, but you certainly should have this kind of thing. I need to create a page like this for my retreat reviews.
Yeah.
I have some on my webpage, but there may be times that I need to have it to where it can be pulled off, and just a page of so like that. So could be from services. We have different entrepreneurs that are work or do a service that's affiliated with a company, but they have client reviews that from working with them, whatever. So I definitely think you want to have that. If you don't have it in print, you definitely need to have this online on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love the idea of having it on your website, but I also love the idea of having that, so we're getting ready to show them what you've got. I like having it so that someone can go grab it if they want it. Exactly.
I think so.
So I go to your website.
I will say, I don't know if you have the marketing plan handy or not there, but that definitely is something that was one of the things that we'll be giving you the link to where you can download, kind of see it. But this was something that was required.
So what are the categories or the hits?
And so basically the categories were, so this is my marketing plan for my book, A Dachshund Tale. So that's at the top. So then I have products and materials and sales and distribution channels and action steps. They wanted to know that I had a definite plan written down on what I was going to do to promote the sale of the book. Whether it was a list of the materials, and I have a list of in fact, I have press kit right at the very top there. I don't know if you can really read that, do it like this. And it says available in print and online, and I list the elements that are, were available. And then I list some of the marketing materials that I've created for the book. And then you list your sales and distribution channels, because this is really, this isn't just me as the author. This is me as Ranch House Press publisher, for Annette Bridges' books. So, I have to kind of share how they get distributed and how you order. And then I have action steps on things that your plan. You just have to have that written plan. And a lot of times they want to know that. They want to know what you're doing to promote the sale of the book.
First action step on there? Just out of
Pardon?
curiosity. What's the first action step on there? Just out of curiosity.
The first action step I put was mailings and phone calls to select Texas bookstores, women's boutiques. Mailings and phone calls to select Texas pet shops, women's boutiques, and bookstores.
Okay.
So,
cool.
And then it could be scheduling a tour. I wrote an article for Grief Digest magazine on pet loss. I mentioned that, and that it was, accepted to be printed. And so I mentioned that, you just mention whatever that fits, for you.
I love it.
The last item was what I called a sales sheet. That was another item that they wanted. And in this case, it's just a little brief excerpt about the book, a little peek of the book inside, and me holding Lady, and a little bit about the author. So it's a little condensed versions about the book and about the author. Again, it's that, one pager kind of thing. And that is definitely the kind of thing you could do for all kinds of events or services that you have. And really, you should have a sell sheet for every book that you do, in theory.
So I missed those two, and so a question I have is sometimes so here's where you guys are going to, two things.
Yeah. You can find them, you can download them too.
I'm going to go show you where to go get these, and y'all can just pick them up. We didn't want to do that at the very beginning because we didn't want to lose our audience. So we didn't want
you want me to do that?
No, I'll do it. I've got it already pulled up, but a couple things before we do that. One question and then one addition to everything we've said with us. So the question was, and when I pulled some of these things up from your website, some of them were attached to one another and some of them were separate. I mean, would you do that differently, or would you just put them all in one? and say, here, don't, just take the whole magazine, so to speak.
Yeah.
What would you do differently there? Or did they ask for things to be
I didn't want it to be too large of a file, and they may just want one particular item, and then you may be working with certain limitations of whatever your website program is, too. That I have a website person who does my website, so this is the way she felt it needed to be, and that's why it is that way. But it did make sense. I do have some things that are 2 pages long, and that's why, it's kind of that set up that way. But I don't know. I don't know that I would change it, though, because it does make sense. Somebody may just want that one particular thing to download, and they don't want a massive file.
Well, and I was a little unclear about how to find each element in pieces. I missed some of them, obviously. I missed those last 2. So one thing I will add before we show you guys, I'm gonna add something. We're gonna show you Annette's website and where you can go and find this, and then pray us out. And thank you, Annette, for doing this. I've been begging her to do this for a while. So, and it's very appropriate that we're doing it at the very end of the NACWE Community and Education webinars, where we've been talking all month long, July 2019, about writing and writing well, no matter what you're writing. So, I think like we said, you can put a press packet together, whether you're going to use it for the press or not, but you can put it together for whatever you're going to do, a service, a program, a product, anything. So right before we go and take you to that website and pray away, I'll say that, we at Community and Education webinars happen every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you go to NACWE.org and click on the calendar to tell you exactly how to get there, they're free for everyone. They're not saved for everyone. We have a classroom vault of over 700 offerings in about over 25 classrooms, and our NACWE members have that at their disposal, all year long. So, but when we ask other people to speak for us, because I want you to hear from new voices all the time, I just reach out and say, can you speak to us on this topic? And so I think it was just last month, so that would have been June of 2019. Roberta Fontroy spoke to us about the psychology of marketing. For 3 months, we talked about how to grow as in your business and ministry as an individual, and how to tell people about how you've grown, because we don't want to be braggarts, but we need to be telling. Annette said, I've had all these books and all these things to offer, and I haven't marketed it, I haven't told people about it. And I haven't either. I've never really promoted my books. We're getting ready to. So I'm going to toot Roberta's horn, and if you want a link to find Roberta, she's in the NACWE membership, you can go find her. When she said, yes, I will speak for you, and anyone who says, yes, I'll speak for NACWE, I send them a kit. And it says, this is kind of how this works, and here's what you can have. And please, you're signing a piece of paper saying, I can record this and put it in the NACWE membership vault forever, et cetera, et cetera. And here's what you get, and here's how long it's going to be. And some people do this and some people do that. Here's how to find me. Here's how to log in. Here's how to everything, right? Really, I don't think we've left anything out if they read it. And in addition, she sent me a presenter's, and she didn't call it a press package, but she sent me a presenter's press packet, totally professionally, well done. And part of it was a speaker bio. Here's what I speak about. Part of it was other things she has to offer. Here are the 3 programs that I have to offer, MBA on demand, et cetera, et cetera. And then one of them, put me to shame, was an agreement page saying, this is what I understand you are asking for from me and that I am giving to you, and here's what I'm going to do, and here's what you're agreeing to. Now, she didn't ask me to sign it, prick my finger and sign it in blood or anything like that, but we all know how important it is to have agreements with one another. And I was blown away. Not only was I blown away, I didn't know her very well. I often bring in people I've never met before ever. A little risky there. I didn't know her really, really well, and I did not know her stuff. And I had never heard her speak before. And so she sent me this packet, and then she also presented very well. Our mouths were hanging open. If you can go back and rewatch that one, it'd be a good one to watch. The psychology of marketing and why we get stuck in it and that sort of thing. But all of that to say, I think these packages are crucial, and we just have not paid enough attention to them. And what I think the best way to start, Annette, if you just will indulge me, was with yours. I think they are above and beyond, top notch, very professional, beautiful, quirky, perky, fun. Is there any stone unturned? Is there any question that somebody really has they need to ask you? I don't think so. And so I think you've done a wonderful job. My mouth was hanging open when I was drooling over it when we were together. And I'm glad we did this. I wanted to do this. We pre-recorded it, you guys, because she's got some places, as you know, how she has to be, and she wasn't sure. So you pop in on us on Wednesday if you can, at the end, maybe for Q&A or whatever on your way back from.
I'll try to do that.
Kalamazoo. But if you can't, I appreciate that we did this. So you guys want to find me, KarenBourg.com. Want to find NACWE, NACWE.org. And if you want to find Annette and all of these elements of the press packet, this is where you can find her. Annette Ridge Simple, AnnetteRidges.com. There she is with her lipstick. Love it, love it, love it. And she has just recently put these all on for you, for others as well, on her homepage. Here's welcome to my website.
Yeah.
I don't want to make everybody dizzy. Here's her online catalog. And then here is her click here to download Annette's press kit. You're so efficient that if there's anything missing from there, I know you're continually adding to it. But I'm going to assume everything is there. And then y'all be sure and sign up for her newsletter too. It's really cute.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like them to know about you now that they know where to go?
Well, and I think I did include the catalog as part of my press kit. So I think these catalogs are creating a magazine. I've seen Diane Cunningham's magazine. I absolutely loved. I love the NACWE program. Those both were my inspiration for creating my own catalog of products and services. And I do plan to have my new fall edition that I intend to give one to everyone at the NACWE conference, Karen, to make available and share, because I think if they haven't done it yet, I definitely think it's a great to give you ideas on creating one for yourself.
Okay, love it. Let's see. One thing I wanted to do was show you guys one last thing before we go, and it won't let me do it. Let me see if it will let me. Okay. Can you see chocolate dipped entrepreneur endeavors icon? Or do you still?
It's on my website?
No, and on your screen right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, my webpage.
No, okay, you're still seeing your webpage. Let me try again. I don't know why. It's making me click twice and hold my tongue this way. How about now?
There you go. There it is.
So you guys, we're going to end this with a little prayer, but an invitation also to you to come to the 2019 NACWE conference. We're calling it Chocolate Dipped Entrepreneur Endeavors because everything there is going to be dipped in chocolate practically. And Sherry Fitzpatrick, who is the founder of the original Sherry's Berries and now Buried in Chocolate, is going to be our keynote speaker. She's going to bring chocolate dipped strawberries. And Annette will be one of our speakers at the retreat. She did the little short presentation last year, and it was so much fun. We've asked her to come back this year and do 1 hour for us on that. I can't remember if you're the first day or the second day. I think you're the first day. But we're looking forward to that. I appreciate it so much. Let me pray for us and say goodbye. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yes.
Father God, I'm so grateful for the women you've placed in my life, especially through NACWE. I never thought I was. I used to have more men friends than women friends and wondered why that was. And now it's all turned around the way that it probably always should have been. I'm grateful, 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 especially for women who add pizzazz and color and love and are willing to cry with me or cry on my shoulder or let me cry on their shoulder. And Annette is one of those women. So we're just going to pray a special blessing over everything that she's ready to do. She's talked about not doing some things, which we all need to hear. There should be a whole month on some things we need to let go of and take off the back burner and things like that. And she's talked about what she really does want to do, Lord. And so I would just pray that you would bless her and John and Jen and new ventures that they strike out on at this phase in their life after losing mom and losing Lady as well. And Lord, I pray for everyone who will come to this webinar, who will watch this video, who will watch it later, who will come to the conference, who will go on retreats with me or with Annette in advance. Pray special blessing, Lord, you know who they are. Turn our heads and hearts toward home, toward you, toward entrepreneurship that's sweet, like dipped in chocolate. We know that sometimes it feels a little bittersweet because there are so many things to do and so many technology glitches and so many things that don't go the way we planned. Help us to just focus, Lord, on your plans. Let you order our steps and give us the successes that we need to pay our bills, to meet our needs. We ask these things, Lord, in your Jesus Christ's holy name. Amen. Thanks, Annette. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. We'll sign off and see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.